Howdy. 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 Oh. There's people all around recording. Figure I'll do something a little bit different, and it is a little bit uncomfortable, but we're gonna go for it anyway. I'm going to record what I learned this week live from Hershey Park. Came over here for the afternoon, and hopefully I don't annoy anybody. What? Hello, Clark. Welcome, my friend. Sam, I am. You're back again. Good to see you, buddy. But yeah, so I'm going to record what I learned this week live right now. It's the audio is obviously going to be a little bit less than perfect because I'm at Hershey Park and there's people, and this is an uncontrolled environment. So hopefully it stays PG because I don't want to be doing any editing. I suppose. In case of emergency, we'll have to abort mission, but I think that we should be fine. I got my Hershey Pass drink cup with me. Hershey Park drink pass. We thanks, Ryan. It's called the Light of Natural Sun. That's what we're sitting in right now. The Light of Natural Sun. This is not the. I don't have strangers walking past me in my house. This is the Light of Natural Sun. But yeah. So doing very well, Sam. Alright, I'm gonna kick this off. It's gonna be what I learned this week. The 65th week of making these. Hello, Whitney. Hello, Whitney. Is anyone at Hershey Park? That'd be fun. I'm at the Dunkin' Donuts at Hershey Park. They did let me out of the dungeon, Ryan. They let me out of the dungeon, but I have until 3:04. I got it back to the dungeon by 3:45. That's when the boss comes home. All right, so I'm gonna get cracking with what I learned this week. Like I said, the audio is going to be so-so. It's just the way it is. Welcome, William Kessler. I'll let it go for another minute or two before I start kicking it off. But this is a weekly summation of what I've learned. So I take a point out from every episode that I put out this week, and I extract one of those points and just build on it. And they come from the books that I read, the conversations that I have, etc. Getting myself comfortable, getting comfortable in this very uncomfortable situation. Because there's like senses everywhere. I don't want to talk too loud. I can't even hear how loud I'm talking because of my earphones. My ears are hurting. My mic's not even recording right now. Alright, let's go for it. If you're at Hershey Park, yes, I like chocolate, obviously, Sam. Alright, I'm gonna record. Hey, Gretzkowitz. Hey, Justin Gretzkowitz. Everyone, Justin is my former trainer. Justin, the Purple People Eater. Hey, Hector, bienvenidos, amigos. Vamos a grabar este episodio, pero en inglés, no en español. Alright, so I'm going to go on my rant. So when I go on my rant here in about a minute, then I'm not going to be able to respond, but please feel free to comment and I'll get back to you afterwards. Hey Darren, welcome again, buddy. Yeah, so don't take it personally if I don't respond. I'll get to you after the show, hopefully. Alright. Every kind of chocolate, Sam. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of What I Learned This Week. So, here's the deal. The audio is going to be a little bit not perfect. I am recording from my mic, so that sound quality should be good. But if you watch it on Facebook Live, you see that there's strangers walking behind me. They're not strangers in my house. I'm at Hershey Park because it is Friday afternoon. It is beautiful, and we have season passes, and on top of that, we purchased these season meal passes. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go over to Hershey Park. I'm going to have myself a free meal. Not really free, because I already paid for it. And when I'm there, I'm going to enjoy the outdoors, enjoy the scenery, record an episode in a place that is pretty uncomfortable, to be honest, because people are looking at me, staring at me. I'm thinking a couple of different things at one time, so it's going to make me focus, right? It's going to make me focus. But what this is it is what I learned this week, and this is the week's top learning points. I have some little kids staring at me right now, but it is the week's top learning points, brought to you in about approximately a 15-20-minute episode. I'm reading from a PDF document. You can get that document by going to charliespaniard.com and opting in every Friday. I'll send it to you. I prep it on Friday morning after that day's AMX for the week, and then boom, ship it out to you Friday afternoon, charliespaniard.com. So let's hop into the first bullet point again. This is coming from the PDF. I'm going to bulletize and extrapolate from there. First and foremost, I capped off a book this week called A Curious Mind by Brian Grazer. Brian Grazer is a TV and movie producer. He's made A Beautiful Mind, he's made 24, he's made Friday Night Lights, a bunch of successful TV and movie series. And so this entire book is about being curious. This entire book is about asking questions. It's about learning, right? This AM Excellence, this show, the Spaniard World Stuff Lifelong Learner, is about learning. And Grazer falls right in line with that. And his idea is being curious just for the sake of being curious, not for an ulterior motive, but just because you're curious, because it betters your life. It makes your life more interesting. It gives you more insight. I was listening to the On It podcast with Andy Stumpf and my buddy Kyle Kingsbury, and Andy said something I had never heard before. He said, when he was talking about traveling and learning and listening and experiencing all these different cultures, he says it gives you many more data points from which to draw your own perspectives. And I thought that was a really neat way of putting it. It gives you data points from which you can draw your perspectives. So it helps you form your opinions, your thoughts, essentially yourself. So the first quote that I'm going to talk about here is Grazer saying, quote, asking for people's help rather than directing it is almost always the smart way of doing things. Asking for people's help rather than directing it is almost always the smart way of doing things. When I read that, first thing I think of myself is raising kids. I have a 1.5-year-old, I have a 4.5-year-old, I'm a relatively new parent. I've been tempted many times because I'm the parent, because I said so. And I first took notice of that response when I started listening to Jocko Willink, and he would pretty much say that as a leader, if you find yourself saying that you're wrong, you're incorrect. That's the incorrect way of doing things. Tying this in line with what Grazer is saying, asking for people's help rather than directing is almost always a smart way of doing things. Part of this whole book, A Curious Mind, is about asking questions and is about being comfortable asking questions. And specifically in the book, when he mentions this, he's talking about a situation where he needed help from someone. He needed help from an actor. He needed an actor to set the standard. And he said, instead of approaching that actor and saying, you will do this, or it's in your contract, you have to do this, it was, hey, do you mind taking the reins here and kind of setting the example? And anyone with any ounce of anything in them, and I say that to mean like pride or ambition or drive, they're going to take you up on that. The idea of asking for help is another great example. So many different times I've heard people say, just ask for help. If a nice, sincere, authentic person comes up to you and says, hey, would you mind helping me out with something? If you're at all capable of doing it, most likely you will do it. Ask for people's help. Don't tell them what to do. The second thing is, the more I know about the world, and this is exactly, I didn't plan on doing this, but this data point falls in line with the data point that I was just talking about, Andy Stumpf talking about data points. Brian Grazer says this, the more I know about the world, the more I understand about how the world works, the more people I know, the more perspectives I have, the more likely it is that I'll have a good idea. So if you're a creative person at all, if you're an ambitious person, if you're a driven person, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I want to do something with my life, I really want to do something with my life. I don't just want to sit here, I don't just want to be, I really want to live, I want to accomplish something, I want to leave a legacy, I want to make an impact, I want to influence people for the better, I want to help people. If you're sitting here thinking that, understand that the more you know about the world, right? The more you know about the world, the more you know about the way things work, the more countries you've been to, the more languages you speak, the more books you've read, the more conversations you've had, the more people you've had on your podcast. I can't believe the opportunity I have to talk to some of these people on my show. The more of that you have, the more likely it's going to spark something in your brain that's going to lead to a good idea, in which that good idea can lead to an actual execution of something good, something positive, something interesting, something fun, something helpful, something impactful. All of that contributes to that idea. Just this morning, I put it out in my email list this morning, and I'll put it out again. This may be a little bit premature, but this is, what I'm about to say is that point in action. So every day, every single day, I sit and I think and I ponder and I reflect and I read books and I jot down ideas. And every Monday through Friday, I'm producing an episode of AM Excellence. And then I have these interviews and conversations, and Dred makes up the show notes. And it's really just this incredible exchange and flow of information and ideas and wisdom, etc. And this morning I was sitting there and I thought, boom, AMX Kids. AMX Kids. What if I read kids' books, similar to how I read grown-up books? Did a weekly episode for AMX Kids. The idea being to help kids, first and foremost, to encourage reading, to help kids develop self-confidence, to help kids develop character, focusing on character development, but then also providing a platform for discussion amongst kids and their parents, amongst kids and their coaches, so that they have something to talk about. So when they come home from school, we say, we just talked about school today. Nothing. What's Spaniard say on AMX Kids? Well, he's reading this book, blah, blah. That's the vision I have for it. And that ties right in line to what Grazer is saying about the more you know, the more you read, the more you think, the more you ask questions, the more you learn, the more curious you are, the more ideas like that you'll have. Now, granted, I've had many ideas that have not worked. Many ideas that have not gone from the idea state. But I'll never stop learning. I'll never stop reading. I'll never stop asking questions. I'll never stop thinking of various ideas, because guess what, my friends? Guess how many it takes? It takes just one. Moving on to the next question, or the next bullet point. And this ties in line, if you're a relatively timid person, if you're a calm, reserved person, it's not to say you can't ask questions. Really obviously, you're averse to walking up to someone, approaching them, physically approaching them, saying, "Excuse me, I have a question." But here's the deal, and this is what Grazer states, and I've learned this and I've recognized it. Case in point, one of the best case in points is Scott Adams. So Scott Adams is the creator of Dilbert, comic strip Dilbert. He's an author. He is a political commentary who's really big right now in that arena. Also with Chico Lager. Chico Lager is the original CEO of Ben & Jerry's. All of these people I simply reach out to, and I simply say, I'd love to talk to you, I'd love to learn about you. Is it possible? Some of them say no, some of them don't respond, but guess what? Some of them say yes. And to me, that's been absolutely incredible. What Grazer is saying here, quote, what you'll discover is that people love talking about themselves, right? If someone asks me a question, if someone genuinely wants to understand a podcast, if someone genuinely wants to learn the sport of wrestling, if someone genuinely wants to learn the business of fighting in the UFC, if someone genuinely wants to learn about my town, about my origin, about the setbacks, of course I'm going to talk, but I want to use that stuff to help other people. I want to use that stuff to help that other person, to help that person learn from it. So what you'll discover is that people love talking about themselves. If you're a committed person, if you're hardworking, if you're pure, if you're authentic, if you're real, if you're determined, if you're not fickle, like if you actually stay the course. If I see that, if you're a young kid and I see that, you know how many messages I get that say, "Hey, Spaniard, I want to fight. What do you recommend?" Well, I recommend training for 6 months and then, call me in 6 months. Email me, I'll give you my number, call me in 6 months. They don't do it. If you're a kid that does that, if you're an employee that does that, if you're a human being that does that, then the person that is where you aspire to be will recognize that. There's no guarantee they're going to help you, because they have their own priorities, they have their own things that they have to do. They have maybe 1,000 other ones of you that are knocking at the door. But guess what? They just might listen. They just might want to share what they know, what they've experienced, so that it can help you. So start asking, my friends, because people will start talking. Be prepared. Be prepared to not take personally the non-response, because that's where I'm at right now. I got to remind myself every day, don't take it personally, Spaniard. Don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. Okay, you took it personally. You took it personally. Okay, brush it off. Move forward. Start asking questions. The next book that I started this week, so there's a lot of people that I aspire to be like, and I'll say heroes. I don't mind saying hero. The Rock. He's someone that I respect a great deal. There's several actors that I respect a great deal. Another one of those athletes that I respect a great deal, Peyton Manning, is at the top of that heap as well. One of the other people I respect like that, and I admire and I aspire to be like, aspire to live like, is Bear Grylls. So Bear Grylls is an adventurer. He is successful TV shows. He has his own line of survival gear. He's a guy that lives, right? He lives. He's adventurous. He's family oriented. He takes his giant role in the Scouts of America. Like, this is a guy who truly lives and is adventurous and enjoys his life and does good for other people and gets the most out of himself. He climbed Mount Everest. He was an SAS soldier in England. He fully lives life. And this is the third book of his. I started this book this week. It's the third book of his that I've read. I'm halfway through it now, but it's called A Survival Guide for Life, and it's a very easy read. I recommend that you get it. You can find it on my website, charliespaniard.com/reading list, but it's a very easy read. So there's 86 principles by which we can live, right? A survival guide for life. And essentially he's writing it, I believe he wrote it to his kids. They're mentioned at the beginning, but it's like, hey, I learned this, do this, don't do that. I recommend thinking this is how you should approach this. So there's 86 of them. Each one's like maybe 2 pages, 3 pages, something like that. It's a very easy read, very fluid read, and there's some very useful nuggets that I've taken out of it. Again, just more data points from my own life, my own ideas, my own invention. But the fifth one is this. The fifth one in the book, the first one I'm going to talk about is this. Be the most enthusiastic person you know. Be the most enthusiastic person you know. That's it. When I read Ted Turner's book, when I read Boom Boom Mancini's book, when I read all of these books about these successful people, so many of them have charisma, so many of them have energy, so many of them have enthusiasm. And guess how much it costs, my friends? It costs absolutely zero. Be the most authentic, be the most enthusiastic person you know. Here's another thing. In the book, he talks about this idea of enthusiasm and your ability to elevate other people around you through your own enthusiasm, right? So if you're the leader of a team, if you're the leader of a classroom, you're a teacher, you're a principal of a school, you're the coach of a team, you're the owner of a business, you're just maybe the pillar of your community, whatever it is, your enthusiasm has a direct effect on those people around you. Try being around an extremely enthusiastic person and feeling miserable. Try being around an extremely enthusiastic person and not becoming enthused, not becoming excited, not being inspired, not being motivated, not looking to that person and having that person rub off on you. That's one way you can use the enthusiasm. Here's another way to use the enthusiasm. Use it to set yourself apart. Use it to set yourself apart. You know how many people are out there just getting by, just going through life, kind of dead, kind of like a sheep, or just grazing out there, not doing anything, not showing excitement, not showing enthusiasm. You know how easy it is to differentiate yourself, not by like annoying enthusiasm, like you're a gnat just buzzing in someone's face, but by productive, pure, authentic enthusiasm about what you're doing. 1, use it to elevate the room. 2, use it to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. The interview I had this week was with Gene Zanetti. So Gene, if you're in the wrestling community, you've heard of Wrestling Mindset. And Gene Zanetti is a friend of mine. He's a colleague of mine, essentially. He's been an advisor to me. He helped me out, over the years with getting my business started with developing the Spaniard Beyond Fighting. And he is the creator, the CEO, he and his brother, of a company called Wrestling Mindset. And Wrestling Mindset has just recently switched into other sports as well, and now I believe they're going by Z Winning Mindset. So the Zanetti's, it's about mindset training. It's mindset specific training, and I'm going to talk about the wrestling mindset because that's where I come from, and that's why they piqued my interest. But one of the things he said about mindset training. So we had this came out on Thursday. It's episode number 182. So if you're into wrestling, absolutely you want to listen to this podcast episode. But if you're into mindset training, like what is it? Like what the heck could mindset training mean? What does that even mean? On Thursday came out episode number 182. He says, quote, mindset training is a combination of the research, studying history, and studying the top athletes. It's teaching people how to think. It's very clear to see that there are patterns to teach people. So if you're focused on a goal, right? You're trying something. You have a goal. You're want to win a state title. Want to get a promotion. You want to be a solid parent. You want to be a great husband. You want to run for some sort of political office. No matter what it is, right? There are things that have led other people to that point. And the way that you think, I was just listening to the audio book of Own the Day, Own Your Life by Aubrey Marcus. Again, all the books that I reference, if you feel like I zoom by it, just click back, listen, know that it's on my website, charliespaniard.com/reading list. So in that book, Own the Day, Own Your Life, it talks so much about how your mindset, your mentality, the way you talk to yourself, the things you think about actually have a physiological effect on your body. There's science, there's data, there's examples that tell us that the way we think affects the way we feel, affects the way we look, affects the way we think. It affects the way you are as a human being. So wrestling mindset, this episode on mindset is not just for wrestlers. It's for anyone who wants to learn, hey, how should I think? What should I be thinking about? What should I be focusing on? What people, what references, what books can I read to really master myself? Because at the end of the day, it's you against you. It's the paradox that drives us all. That's the name of the game right there. Once you can master that thing, right? That's what with mindfulness, that's what spirituality, that's what all of this stuff, all of this higher level thinking, that's what it all boils down to. Mastering that so you can master yourself. Your mind is a terrible thing to waste. Practice it and use it. And the last bullet point of the week, this is number 29 in the book, A Survival Guide for Life by Bear Grylls. Instinct is the nose of the mind. Trust it. I'll say that again. Instinct is the nose of the mind. Trust it. Your instinct is there to help you. Grylls does a great job in this chapter telling how your instinct is there for a reason. Your instinct is there to help you. Your instinct is there to help you thrive and survive. Your instinct is there as your kind of partner in crime. It's there as your aid. It's not there to take you in the wrong direction. Now, I want to take that a step further. If your instinct is the nose of the mind, and we should trust it, and I'm saying, yeah, follow your instinct, you've got to hone that instinct. My son, I laugh. My son is 1.5 years old, and he does have solid instinct. I watch the decisions he makes. I watch him decide to do this, not decide to do that, look me dead in the eyes and test me for everything I'm worth, everything he's worth. He has instinct, right? But I also know he's a 1.5-year-old boy, so I need to be there to kind of, stop him from doing things that he shouldn't be doing. As you grow, as you get older, as you age, as you experience, you're honing that instinct. You're forming your gut intuition. If you spend so imagine this. Imagine there's two people, two paths. One person watches cartoons all day, eats junk food, grows up, eats potato chips, goes to the bar, drinks soda all the time, and then they want to trust their gut intuition. Or you have a person who's disciplined, who wakes up early, who trains hard, who's dedicated to a sport, dedicated to a craft, gets good grades, studies hard, is very nice to people, practices manners, develops his or her character, etc. Which one of those people's gut intuition are you going to trust more? You go to that person for advice. Which one of those people's gut intuition are you going to trust more? I'm going to trust the person who lived a disciplined life. I'm going to trust the person who goes after. I'm going to trust the person who does the right things, who makes the right choices, who treats people with respect, who goes after goals, who gets back up after they fall down. I'm going to go with that person. That's what I mean when I say you've got to earn the right to trust your gut. Earn the right to trust your gut. Yes, you have gut intuition. Yes, you have a natural gut instinct, as does my 1.5-year-old son. But you've got to earn the right to trust that gut, and you're going to earn the right to trust your gut through hard work, through discipline, through character development, through perseverance, through developing resilience, through developing your toughness, by doing all of these things that we talk about on a regular basis. This has been this week, what I learned this week. I sincerely appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, the audio is probably a little less than stellar because I'm sitting here at Hershey Park. I'm sitting here in the sweetest place on earth, Hershey Park. And I appreciate you tuning in. As always, hop on over to charliespaniard.com to opt into the email list. If you're a school, I know it's summertime, but if you're the admin and you're setting up your fall assemblies, charliespaniard.com has my booking information. If you're a company, you want to improve the performance of your group or of your team, charliespaniard.com/booking has that information. Fill out the form. I will be in contact. For the rest of you all, I greatly appreciate every ounce of support you show, that you give the show, whether you share this episode with your friends, whether you watch on Facebook, facebook.com/charliespaniard, whether you leave a comment on iTunes, leave a review on iTunes. No matter how you're supporting the show, know that I sincerely appreciate it. And I will be back on Monday, a.m., 6:30 Eastern Time. Facebook.com/charliespaniard. Be bold, my friends. There we go. That's it, my friends. That's it, my friends. So one of the reasons I wanted to record here at Hershey was because it's a little uncomfortable, just because there's so much scenery going on. There's so much, my senses are stimulated a lot because there's like noise and people and all kinds of stuff all around. But I wanted to do that because it makes me focus on doing my job, and that's very helpful. So I hope you all enjoyed it. A reminder to subscribe if you haven't yet. If you haven't yet hopped on iTunes, please consider doing so. Subscribe, leave a review if you haven't yet already. Help the show get seen by more and more people. I appreciate the comments here below. I will get to them ASAP. Quick reminder, here's another quick reminder. Tomorrow morning, so tomorrow's Saturday, tomorrow morning I'm going to be streaming a workout at 7:30 a.m.-ish. Thanks, Ryan. I say ish because I have 2 little kids and I don't know how the morning is going to play out, but my goal is to live stream a workout tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m.-ish Eastern time, and you can join in if you want, or you can watch the intensity that is a Saturday morning workout. But it's either for you to join along, learn the workout, harass me during the workout, whatever it is. But that's gonna be tomorrow morning. Facebook.com/charliespaniard. I will see you there.